The morning started the way it always did, quiet and harmless. Coffee, emails, a soft hum from the old fridge in my apartment. Then a new notification slid across my laptop screen. Subject, booking confirmation, 2 passengers, 10-day Mediterranean cruise. At first, I almost deleted it. I assumed it was spam, some promotional thing. But the sender's name stopped me, Voyage Now Travel Agency. That was the same company I'd spoken to weeks ago, the one I planned to book our family vacation with. My heart lifted for a second. Maybe Mom surprised me and finished the booking. We'd talked about it for months, the idea of finally taking a trip together, just the 3 of us. I'd offered to pay for everything. A thank you for all their sacrifices. So when I opened the email, I smiled, until I saw the details. 2 passengers. My mother's name. My father's name. And under billing information, Emily Carter, visa ending in 4802. Paid in full. $6,800. Non-refundable. The room went cold. I blinked at the screen, waiting for it to change. Maybe it was an error. Maybe they'd added me somewhere else. But no, it was right there, in black and white. They had used my card. And gone without me. I picked up my phone, my hands trembling as I called Mom. She answered on the second ring, bright and casual. Hey, Emmy. How's work? I swallowed. Did you book the cruise already? A short pause, the kind of silence that feels too practiced. Oh, that, she said. Yes, we took care of it last week. We? Your dad and I, she said, cheerful as ever. You've been so busy lately, we thought we'd just go ahead. I tried to breathe evenly. I just got an email. It says it was paid from my card. Her laugh was soft and dismissive. That must have been a mix-up, sweetheart. I thought I used mine. I pressed my lips together. You didn't, Mom. It's my card. And it says non-refundable. This time, her tone cooled. Don't worry. We'll sort it out when we get back. When will you get back? I repeated slowly. Mitchum, she said. We already went last week. I froze. You already went? Her voice was airy, unconcerned. Yes. It was wonderful. You would have loved it. I couldn't find words. Just the hum of the fridge, the ticking of the clock, the sound of my heartbeat in my ears. She had said it like it was nothing, like I hadn't paid for it. Like I hadn't been waiting for a call that never came. When I finally spoke, my voice cracked. You went without even telling me. Sweetheart, she sighed, don't make this a big thing. We'll reimburse you. You know how things have been lately. And just like that, she was gone, off to another topic, asking if I'd watered my plants, if I'd been sleeping well. I hung up mid-sentence. For a long time, I sat there staring at the email. The black text blurred slightly as tears stung my eyes. 2 names. Their names. Paid in full. My money. It wasn't about the money. It was the realization that they hadn't forgotten me, they had chosen to leave me out. That was the difference. I closed my laptop, but the words stayed burned into my mind. We already went last week. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying it. The tone in her voice, so calm, so casual, like this was just another Tuesday conversation. I thought about every time I had helped them before, rent, car repairs, groceries, little things that added up. They never asked. They just hinted. And I always filled in the silence with, yes. Because that's what good daughters do, right? They keep peace. Even when it hurts. But this time, it didn't feel like peace anymore. It felt like humiliation. By morning, the email felt heavier. So did the air. A new notification appeared on my phone, from Facebook. Mom had posted something. Finally taking that long overdue trip. Just the 2 of us. No stress, no drama. No drama. That's what she called me now. The drama they left behind. I opened the photos. Scrolling slowly. My parents smiled under golden light, champagne glasses raised high. Perfect couple, perfect life, perfect lie. Each photo hurt a little more than the last. Not because I wasn't there, but because they looked genuinely happy that I wasn't. That's when something inside me went still. The kind of quiet that doesn't come from calm, but from clarity. I opened my banking app. There it was. $6,800 withdrawn, listed as Voyage Now Travel Agency. I took a screenshot. Then another. And another. Not out of revenge. For proof. Proof that I wasn't crazy. Proof that love shouldn't feel like a receipt. Hours passed, and still no word from them. No apology. No acknowledgement. That evening, I called my dad. He answered with a cheerful tone. "Hey, pumpkin. Why did you go on the cruise without me?" He sighed, like I'd asked the weather to change. "Your mom told you, didn't she? We needed a break. You've been working so hard, figured you wouldn't have time anyway." "You could have asked," I said quietly. He chuckled. It's just money. Stop being dramatic." There it was. The word. Dramatic. "It's not about the money," I whispered. "It's about respect." But he'd already hung up. I sat there, phone still to my ear, listening to the silence on the other end. For the first time in my life, I realized something simple and painful. To them, I wasn't a daughter. I was a debit card with a heartbeat. Days passed. They came home. Facebook filled with souvenirs, new living room decorations, captions about grateful hearts. No mention of me. One post read, "Grateful for this time together." No drama. Just peace. And that was when the guilt died. The next morning, I opened my bank again and moved every cent into a new account. Then I called my card company. "Hi," I said softly. "I'd like to report unauthorized card use." When the agent asked if I wanted to cancel the card, I said, "Permanently." The click of the confirmation button felt like a heartbeat restarting. That evening, the phone rang. Mom's name flashed on the screen. I let it ring until it stopped. A voicemail followed, her voice, tight and defensive. "Emily, this is ridiculous. You're overreacting. We'll pay you back, okay? Don't make this ugly." But it was already ugly. I just wasn't pretending it was beautiful anymore. The next day, Aunt Laura called. "Sweetheart," she said gently, "your mom told everyone the trip was a gift from you." I laughed softly. "A gift? That's one way to put it." She went quiet. "Emily, I'm so sorry. They shouldn't have done that." By the end of that week, I'd heard the whispers, how I'd supposedly offered to pay, how ungrateful I was for making a scene. And yet, not once had they called to apologize. That Sunday evening, Grandma called. Her voice was calm, steady, like it always was when the world felt too heavy. "I saw the photos," she said softly. "And I heard what happened. I didn't know what to say. Your parents weren't always like this," she continued. "But comfort changes people. They got used to taking because you got used to giving." Her words sank deep. I didn't argue. Because she was right. That night, I sat alone at my dining table, laptop open, proof folder visible on the screen. Every screenshot, every email, every photo in neat order. And beneath them, a single new file titled, Boundaries. I whispered to myself, "This ends here." The silence that followed those 3 words was strange. Not empty. Just, different. The kind of quiet that comes when something finally breaks, not loudly, but completely. Days passed without a single message from them. Not a call, not a text, not a weak apology masked as concern. But I wasn't waiting anymore. I had waited all my life, for respect, for appreciation, for love that didn't have fine print. Now, I wanted peace. A week later, a voicemail came in. Dad's voice was sharp, irritated. "Emily, this has gone too far. We're family. Call us back." Family. The same word they hid behind every time they crossed a line. I didn't call back. Because family isn't supposed to make you question your worth. 3 days later, Aunt Laura's number flashed across my screen. "Sweetheart," she said softly, "they're telling everyone you cut them off." I didn't even flinch. "Of course they are." She hesitated. "Your mom said you froze her account by mistake." I almost smiled. "Not a mistake," I said. "It was mercy." Then she added, "They're hosting a family dinner next weekend. Everyone's invited." I could already hear where it was going. "They'll probably try to explain, make themselves look better. You might want to come." For years, I'd stayed silent to keep the peace. But silence had become their shield. Maybe it was time I stopped protecting them from the truth. "I'll be there," I said. The following Saturday, I parked outside their house, my heartbeat steady, my mind clear. The same driveway where I once learned to ride a bike now felt like a stage. When I rang the doorbell, Mom opened the door, smile already rehearsed. "Emily. You made it," she said, pulling me in with a hug that felt like performance art. "Of course," I said. "You said it was important." The living room was full, cousins, uncles, Grandma sitting quietly by the window. The smell of roast and flowers filled the air. Everything looked perfect. Too perfect. Dinner began with laughter, polite chatter, and that undercurrent of tension everyone pretends not to feel. I could tell Mom was waiting for her cue. And it came halfway through dessert. She cleared her throat, smiling faintly. "We're just so glad everyone could make it," she began, her voice warm but tight. "It's been a rough few months. I know there's been some misunderstanding between us." I stared down at my plate. There it was, misunderstanding, her favorite word for betrayal. She continued, "Emily thought we used her card for our trip by mistake. We've already explained it was an oversight, but she's still upset." Her tone softened. "You know how sensitive she can be." A few polite chuckles from the table. Then silence. I set my fork down gently. "Mom," I said quietly, "you brought it up. So let's clear it up." The room shifted. All eyes turned to me. Her smile faltered. "Emily, please, this isn't it's exactly the place," I said. I reached into my purse and pulled out my phone, the screen already open. "Here's the booking receipt," I said, placing it on the table. "My name. My card. My address." A swipe. "Here's the travel confirmation. Sent directly to me." Another swipe. "And here's your post from Facebook, finally taking that long overdue trip. Just the two of us. No stress. No drama." The silence was thick enough to taste. Aunt Laura's hand covered her mouth. Grandma's gaze didn't move. Cousins glanced down at their plates. Mom's voice trembled. "Emily, this isn't appropriate." I met her eyes. What wasn't appropriate was lying to everyone here. Dad shifted in his seat. "You're embarrassing your mother." "No," I said evenly. "She did that herself." He leaned forward, voice low but angry. "We said we'd pay you back." I nodded slowly. "You've been saying that for years." The air was tense, fragile. But I didn't stop. "You told everyone I gave you that trip as a gift," I said. "But it wasn't generosity. It was theft, dressed in family language." Mom opened her mouth, but Grandma spoke first. Her voice was calm, steady. "You owe her an apology." The table fell completely silent. Mom looked down, eyes glistening. Dad's jaw tightened. I exhaled slowly. "It's okay, Grandma. I'm not here for an apology." Mom looked up, confused. "Then why are you here?" "To make sure you understand something simple," I said. "I'm done paying for peace I don't get to feel." I stood. The chair scraped softly against the floor. Mom's voice cracked. "Emily, where are you going?" "For once," I said, "on a trip that's actually mine." I walked out without looking back. The night air was cold, sharp, almost cleansing. I drove home with the windows open, the hum of the tires matching the calm in my chest. It didn't feel like rebellion. It felt like release. When I got home, I poured a glass of wine, opened my laptop, and stared at a blank booking form. Destination, Santorini. Dates, flexible. Number of travelers, 1. I clicked confirm. The flight to Santorini felt surreal. For once, there were no calls to answer, no guilt to soothe, no invisible debts to repay. Just quiet. When the plane lifted through the clouds, I looked out the window and whispered, "This one's for me." The island was everything I'd imagined: white rooftops, blue water, sunlight that turned every stone gold. Each morning I walked along the cliffs, watching the sea shift from sapphire to silver. For the first time in years, my heart beat without background noise. It took a few days to adjust, to wake up without worry, to spend money without guilt, to breathe without permission. But slowly, the noise faded. And peace filled the space it left behind. One evening, as the sky turned pink, I opened my phone for the first time in days. 28 missed messages from Mom. 7 from Dad. 1 from Grandma. I ignored the first 2. But I listened to Grandma's voicemail. Her voice was soft. Sweetheart, they're scared. Your mother's embarrassed. I told her to apologize. She's trying to reach you. I stared at the waves below. I wasn't angry anymore. Just tired. That night, I texted Grandma back. I'm okay. Tell them I just need time. She replied a few minutes later. Take all the time you need. The next morning, an email appeared in my inbox, from the same travel agency. Subject, we'd love to feature your solo journey. I laughed. The irony wasn't lost on me. The same company that once billed me for betrayal now wanted to celebrate my independence. I agreed to the interview. At a cafe overlooking the sea, a writer asked, "What made you decide to travel alone?" I thought for a moment. Then said, "Because I got tired of buying my way into belonging." A week later, the feature went live. Under a photo of the Santorini sunset, my quote read, "Peace isn't found when others stop disappointing you. It's found when you stop handing them the power to." I didn't post it. Didn't share it. But people found it anyway. Friends sent screenshots. An old coworker messaged congratulations. And eventually, my parents saw it too. Their email came late that night. Subject, we read your interview. It was from Dad. Short. Honest. We didn't realize how much we hurt you. We're sorry. Mom cried reading it. You didn't deserve that. If you'll let us, we want to make things right. I didn't reply immediately. Instead, I walked down to the water, waves brushing against my ankles, the moon reflecting in ripples. Forgiveness didn't feel like surrender anymore. It felt like freedom. Back in my room, I finally wrote back. Thank you for saying that. I'm open to rebuilding. But only if it starts with honesty, no more pretending, no more using love as an excuse to take. They didn't reply that night. 3 days later, another email arrived, this time from Mom. You're right. We're ashamed. We've paid back the money. Check your account. We'll do better. I hesitated before opening my banking app. When I did, the transfer was there, every cent, returned quietly. No words attached. No drama. Just accountability. It wasn't about the money. It never was. It was about acknowledgement, and they finally gave it. Months later, Grandma called. Your parents are hosting Christmas, she said gently. They'd like you to come. I paused. Do you think I should? I think showing up when you no longer need their approval is the best kind of peace. So I went. When I walked in, the air was different. No pretense, no tension. Just people trying. Mom looked smaller, softer somehow. Dad's eyes were wet before I even said hello. He smiled faintly. You look good, Emily. Travel suits you. Thanks, I said quietly. Dinner was simple. No speeches, no fake laughter, just cautious warmth. After dessert, Mom handed me a small frame. Inside was a photo of the three of us at the beach, years ago. On the back, in her handwriting, for the daughter who finally taught us what love really means. For a moment, I couldn't speak. Because maybe forgiveness doesn't rewrite the past, it just stops it from bleeding into your future. Months later, the travel agency reached out again. They were hosting a charity gala for solo travelers, raising funds for women starting over. They asked if I'd speak. I said yes. That night, under soft lights and quiet applause, I stood on stage and said, sometimes the people who raise us forget we're no longer children. They keep taking because we keep giving. But every person reaches a moment when they realize their worth. Mine came when I stopped funding everyone else's happiness and started investing in my own. The audience clapped softly. Not for drama, for truth. Afterward, a young woman approached me, tears in her eyes. My parents do the same thing, she said. Hearing you say that makes me feel less guilty for saying no. I hugged her and whispered, protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's sacred. Later that night, back in my hotel room, my phone buzzed. A new message from Dad. Proud of you. 2 words. No manipulation. No guilt. Just respect. I smiled. Because for the first time in my life, that was enough.